To call the meeting of the Guam Hybrid Land Use Commission to order, and it is time 13:30, 1:30, I'm sorry. Present today is myself. I'll go ahead and do roll call. Commissioner Leilani Flores.
Present.
Commissioner Ron Penglin.
Present.
Junior Mayor Brian Verline.
Present.
Talampago Ordet Mayor Wayne Santos.
Present.
Talapoco Mayor Vicente Taitu.
Yeah.
Right, and Manila Mayor. Alan Ipata. Right. So we do have a quorum in the room. I do have Deputy Director Rosanna Tiston, Legal Counsel Lee Miller, and our Chief Planner Celine Cruz and her staff. Okay, so we do have a quorum. Today's meeting is being live streamed on YouTube at Guam Department of Land Management channel. All right, second item 2, approval of the minutes. So for approval of the Guam Hybrid Land Use Commission regular meeting minutes met on Thursday, November 14, 2024. Now, the draft of the minutes were emailed to the commissioners and mayors for review. I'm ready to entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes for last meeting.
I hear a motion from the mayor. Do I hear a second? Second. No errors. So I'll put this motion to vote. Vote to approve the regular minutes of the Guam Hybrid Land Use Commission dated November 14. All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion carries. Item 3, old and unfinished business, there's none. New business. So the new business, we have a conditional use permit, 2 applications, right, by the same presenter. And we're going to treat it as one. So at the end, we're going to vote on the combined applications. Is that okay, Lee?
I'd actually prefer the discussion, we can have one discussion, but 2 votes.
2 votes?
Vote on each application separately.
Okay, vote on each application separately, 1 presentation.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right, so for application number Hotel 2024-44, the applicant Samsung E&C America Incorporated and Samsung C&T Corporation, represented by TG Engineers EC, requests a conditional use permit to allow for the construction and operation of a new solar photovoltaic and battery energy storage system and a renewable integration energy storage facility on lot 100-2-1 NEW-1-R5 and on lot 100-2-1 NEW-2 in the village of Yona in a zone, agricultural rural zone. And so we'll add application number Hotel 2024-45. Again, the applicant Greenland Energy Solutions Incorporated, again represented by TG Engineers EC, also requests a conditional use permit to allow for the construction and operation of a new solar photovoltaic and a battery energy storage system and a renewable integration energy storage facility on lot 100-2-R1 NEW-R1 in the village of Yona in an A zone, agricultural rural, case planner Frank Taitano. So I have the applicants here. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your presentation.
Good afternoon. My name is Marvin Aguilar, Senior Planner with TG Engineers.
My name is Joaquin Flores, Director of Energy Projects for TG Engineers.
First of all, we'd like to thank everybody. Thank you. Let's thank the mayors for taking time out of their busy schedule for allowing us to present space. We have been engaged with the new mayor. We'd like to congratulate all the new mayors on their newly appointment, the new elections. So, and of course, we have Deputy Director here. So thank you very much. This is a conditional use permit application. If I could refer your attention to this board there. It's a proposal to construct a 132 megawatt solar photovoltaic battery energy storage renewable integrated energy storage system facility. And as the chairman had noted, that this falls under 3 different lots. It's a combined project, or a project combined with 3 different parcels. Next slide, please. So this all started with the bid to GPA, and it's a direct response, which is basically the biggest and greatest takeaway from this whole proposal to address 3546. And we're looking at a very aggressive position with GPA and the public, for that matter, this is public law, for 100% dependency on alternative energy by the year 2045. So with that, GPA intends to acquire a total of about 233 or 234 916 megawatts of solar power to include other alternative power platforms from various private services providers, and to meet these specifications under the law and their so this is going to be a 25-year power purchase agreement for renewable services or renewable energies to serve the GPA power system. And again, this PV planning and engineering design is provided by the experts in this field. We, as TG engineers, are the ground base for all activities for planning and design. Next slide, please. So coming into the project location, we noted the 3 lots. The bigger lot is 100-2-R1U-1. This property is owned by a company called Maruhan Corporation. And then we have 2 smaller parcels to the west, which is lot 100-2-1-U-2 and 100-2-1U-1-R5. Next slide, please. To give you a better perspective of the project location, to the northwest, you see Tarzan Falls River. The Gluc River serves as the northern boundary of this property, of the project site. We are approximately 1,000 feet, 800 to 1,000 feet away from the Tarzan trailhead, where you see there's a vehicle gate where people enter to get to the falls. To its eastern, southeast, you have the former Takayama Golf Course, or better known Palapoco as the Mergilus Golf Course. And we actually follow part of their boundary. And to the south, you have the intersection that leads you to the west side of Palapoco village. As we noted, this is a 2-part application based on the ownership of the project of each lot. It's owned by Maruhan, Guam, and China Construction Incorporated. But more importantly, it's one unified facility platform. And again, we want to put together a site plan. We had the opportunity to provide preliminary layout of where everything is located at time and discuss a little further into this presentation. So these are the 3 lots that we have. That center lot is the operations facility for the whole entire project. The little veins that you see going throughout, those are access roads to lead to service panels. And in between, you would have, in certain strategic areas, you have inverters. So power comes into the panels, it's into the inverters, and into the battery storage facility.
Can you go back real quick?
Yes, sir.
So all this light is gonna be all panels? The light blue?
For the baby blue.
Baby blue. Sure.
Say again?
Yeah, sky blue.
The sky blue, that's all PV panels?
Yes.
Oh, how's that compared to the one in Manila?
This is much larger.
Much larger, okay.
But overall, there's about, I would say, in close to 250,000 module and EV module.
Okay.
So we have a total of 627.6, give or take, acres that we like to put in, be involved in this conditional use permit. However, about 43.6%, or about 273 acres, is actually going to be used at this point. We're trying to, we designed this so that we can avoid wetlands, streams, tributaries, and rivers. We know that we do have the GLUC River as our boundary, northern boundary, and we also have the Thurs River going through it. So we're avoiding these areas, leading to 273 acres. Next slide, please. The red line is essentially the Tarzan River boundary where the extent of the initial development is going to occur, starting from Lot 17 northbound. So we're calling that our current project site, and then we have the future option for the second half. The critical operational components of this project involves the photovoltaic panels. We have inverters, operations, maintenance, access ways, operation building, battery energy storage system, substation, fencing, and spanning bridges that at this point they're on hold. Next, please. Our design efforts it's really a dynamic process, and it's driven by cause and effect. With respect to shifting of components due to our soil climate. We have, we're looking at placement of PV panels now. Our site plan shows almost 100%, I should say 60% saturation of PV panels, but we still have to go in there and make sure that these panels stay in. So, so that's still an ongoing review. We have to utilize and find efficient use of land space. And more importantly, we have to follow what after GLUC consideration, we would have to follow what the different agencies would require us to do. So we have to shift because say GPA wants something moved, then we just have to follow. Okay. Again, here's a legend. We were able to set this up with respect to our preliminary thoughts on how this how the overall design area was going to occur. We have the wetlands that we have been able to define with 50-foot buffers. We have the rivers. I'm sorry, it shows rivers again. I apologize. There's two rivers. And the battery storage, battery energy storage facility, and of course the photovoltaic panels. So yes, a high level of due diligence and responsibilities considerations were put into play. We looked at natural resources, the archaeological, historical resources, and our recreational resources. So we are addressing natural resources by avoiding wetlands altogether, for the most part. We're continuing our assessment of historical and archaeological sites. We've gone through a geotesting process already, and so far preliminary reports are showing that there's very little to almost none in the majority of the properties. And therefore, we continue having open conversations and dialogue with the shipyard. So that's a continuing effort as we go on. Recreational resources. In our first MPC meeting, this was a major concern, was finding access ways to the Tarzan pools, and we are addressing that right now. Providing, looking at ideas of would put, and CPJ, then you going, okay, I want to see.
No, because I want to, if you can show me, I haven't been to Tarzan since I was a little boy. So where on the property map is the Tarzan pools? We can go back.
Yeah.
Next one. I think you got a bigger one,
May I?
Go back.
Just keep going back and then point to it.
please. Oh, go the other way, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, back up, right there.
So, yeah. I can go.
Where the two.
This is where it's got a pin.
Oh, there's the one, okay.
Tarzan pole.
This is the parking where people.
Yep,
park
I
by
remember
Route
that. I remember
17.
that.
And they walk along,
Okay,
right? And Tarzan pools is right below where it says Ilic River on that bend. There's one, right below Ilic River, right there, right on that
right on
jog,
them, okay.
right on the jog. So these pools are created by the directions of the waterway.
Right,
And if you hit a jog, it guts it out, or because guts it out, and it creates pools. So
so during the public hearing, what did our villagers, were they concerned about access to the
they just,
Tarzan falls and,
in general, essentially, they want it to be able to get there.
and they can?
Well, we're looking at a way to get in there for them, safe.
Because that's got to be fenced, right?
Yes, sir.
That's all,
Yes,
the
sir.
white is going to be
Yes, sir.
fenced.
Is it currently, gonna follow like the concept where it's fenced and everything? Is the access that you're trying to get to them, is it private property or what?
It is here. It is, so Samsung was concerned about the public going through the private property to the pool or the ponds. So we're evaluating how we're gonna make that safe. So we have the perimeter fence along the TV panel. And then immediately, very close by, is the steep drop off into Tarzan River. We want to make sure that whoever's coming in will be traversing the area safely and not bring in four-wheel drive vehicles to tear it all up. So the first thought that we had to make it safe was pedestrian trail only, or bike, mountain bike. But it's still an access being kicked around with our engineers, our environmentalists, as well as the client board. But it hasn't been firm, but the goal and the objective is to provide the access. How we do it is still a tactical issue, and then we deal with it in the side.
When you presented that to the village, were they satisfied with that answer?
What they had requested, what are you gonna do about it?
Right.
Our access to the pond, knowing that they were going to private property.
Right.
And he said, we will note that down and we'll try to address that. Samsung seems to be willing to provide that access.
And it was inserted in the resolutions. In the former, it's put in, December, the last one was December 27th, first one was November. And it was reiterated, saying, let's address this matter.
So it basically says, the villagers said, yeah, you can do this, provided you give us access in that resolution.
Section 2, yes.
All right, any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Any questions for the applicant? Commissioners, any mayors? Oh, I'm sorry, are you done?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A couple more slides.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry.
One more, please. Okay, so, from day one to this point, we've been, committing ourselves to the assessment of this property, the challenges that we're. And, one of the things that we want to highlight is how we're going to apply best management practices in accordance with the requirements of EPA and, ARC and associated agencies. So if you look to this, I apologize, it's kind of grainy, but you see the yellow spots there? Those are all sedimentation retention ponds. that have distribution phase throughout the property to capture any type of sedimentation that may be caused by, preliminary work on the property prior to discharge into either a wetland and into the river or the water. So we're taking that step to make sure that we're doing it. I mean, we're being put to do it, but we're hoping this will showcase how to do it.
In addition to that, the Chair and Commissioners, Samsung has taken a proactive approach to leaving most of the existing terrain without grading. And that involves some 30% slopes. And we had questioned that, but it was still very insistent that leave things in place with the vegetation so that we can minimize erosion, stormwater runoff, but coupled with about 50 ponds that are considered, that would be a significant help in order to reduce floodwaters into the waters of the U.S. border. The other thing that I want to mention is these ponds not only collect stormwater, surface water runoff into these ponds, they settle the dirt, and they have designed spillways where they can recharge with clean water better than what was normally experienced as sheet flow. And the benefit of that is that Guam EPA is very receptive about spillways recharging because it enhances wetlands to the extent possible. So there is a synergy between design, current situations that are not so good. You can see the muddy runoff every time we have heavy storm at the bridge. Hopefully, we can mitigate some of that. We've done a hydrology study that takes water flow from offsite, water on-site, and discharging offsite to model this stormwater system. And hopefully this will be a much more effective approach to environmental consideration.
I guess we can pass this slide now. That's our discussion on avoiding erosion sedimentation.
I'm glad you guys took the extra measure, and then the concern that you guys mentioned earlier with offloading and natural resources. Even if you don't disturb it, it eventually starts to erode by natural mother nature. Right? So I'm glad you guys took that extra effort, and I hope that if you're going to revisit any sort of storms, and glad you said you will not disturb it too as well. That area.
I think when we modeled the initial grading, the cut and fill disposal of earthwork was significant. And kept integrating that into the optimal design. And it turned out to leave most of it in place. It's only where access roads are recurring the balance of plant, transmission line, where we need to make that grade, we will grade. But then we protect the stormwater runoff, the drainage systems to the potential, wherever it's necessary. And again, it's not final because we're still evaluating how this is all going to come together. When we finally submit the permit application to DPW, again, the agency and management will also see what we end up with during the final.
That's our presentation, sir. Thank you.
All right, any questions for the applicant? My mayors?
With this project, a completion project, is the value of the land increase or what?
Well, I'm not a real estate expert, but currently the land was proposed for a golf course, and it sat since the 80s without any development. They've been trying to sell the property for quite a long time. They may have purchased it under whatever the fair market value was there. The ultimate price increase, status quo or decrease because of the solar farm development is not known to me. I can't comment on that, but it's now going to be a business where they contribute to the tax base for the island. There's about 17,000 or so homes that I calculated very roughly on the energy that's going to produce every year. That's quite a number of benefits. It would mitigate and provide a head to the amount of outside fuel that needs to be shipped to the island, and it's produced by natural resources. So there's a lot of benefits. It may not be a benefit to to the residents around there because their tax base may go up and real estate taxes may go up, but it will overall benefit throughout the island. Plus, they're building a very solid transmission line to overhead PD to interconnect the grid and serve everyone. So it's a holistic project that has wide range. benefits for everyone.
I just want to make sure that, if the value goes up, we'll make sure we get tax, okay? And who's gonna do the reporting? Who's gonna notify the tax?
Property owner is responsible for real estate tax.
I mean, you're a real tax can be good at that. So that will bring something in on the property and that is.
Okay, that's here, that, thank you.
Mayor, I have a question. So I, as a matter of fact, Sintus Masi, I'm a new mayor coming into this whole project, and I'm very, very grateful that, Jonia was, identified as the place to be. However, and I met with Marvin, to kind of educate me as to what this whole project entails. And we went through the different aspects of what also the Municipal Planning Council at the time, and then also the villagers of Jonia at the time had expressed when they made the presentation on the town hall meeting. I did have my reservations, most specifically with the ancestral lands in that area. And again, Mr. Aguilar had addressed that along with the wetlands, and then also public accessibility when it comes to the recreational land, the areas that we have there in that area. There's no doubt that our island will benefit from this, and our constituents in the village of Julia and our neighboring villages, but my biggest, and I posed this to Marvin at the time, is what is this whole project is a multi-million-dollar project, even more. What benefits, besides the solar energy that our residents are going to get, what benefits to our constituents, most specifically in the village of Julia? What can this company offer to the people of Julia? As opposed, well, I brought it up, like you're gonna need to clean the panels. You're gonna need to, what do you call it? Maintain the land that it sits on. May I suggest maybe job opportunities? When you look at the village in its current state, may I suggest giving scholarships to children in those schools that most specifically in GAA, where it will be very close by, may I also suggest maybe sponsoring the village itself to where you can assist with the management and beautification of the village. And I told this to Mr. Aguilar, I said, I'm all for things happening in our village, as long as it benefits our community and our constituents as a whole, and as a whole community, and not as of course in the island, but most specifically in Georgia and our neighboring villages. So maybe you're not the people to kind of bring this to, but maybe you can be the messengers to the companies.
Absolutely, Mayor. We can approach Samsung with your request. What I presented before with the mayor of Manila asked was that, there were, I believe now 4 or 5 local employees, retirees of GPA actually, who are not operating and maintaining and dispatching the, solar farm. Most of the maintenance workers to cut the grass, that's 250 acres in the canal, are local. I think Samsung has helped support cleaning up of that one road that used to be a legal dumping area for solid waste and a lot of graffiti. So some of those have been improved upon. The baseball field has been helped with, and some maintenance aspects of their grass cutting, their bush cutters, their, their incidental supplies. We can approach Samsung again with that and see how they can help with their. We're not in a position to commit anything at this point. We're the designers and the planners, but for sure, I mean, we have representatives from Samsung here. They're listening. It's online as well in Korea, so they will take that into account.
During the town hall, any questions from the neighbors of the area?
Well, yeah, there was, I think the value for they own property to like and Paris is
Across the street.
But, I guess anything related to the facility was, making sure that it stays in place, particularly during typhoons, which, we're following appropriate building code requirements to ensure that the flood, or is dislodged and applies to themselves and make a service that, and so we were able to answer that. That was pretty much it.
Any action items, takeaways from the town hall? In regards to the villager comments?
More a reiteration of the access to the pools. Yes, sir. So.
All right, any other questions? Go ahead, Mary.
So with regards to the mitigation efforts for the solar panels, right? This is all due to so the solar, if we were to have a typhoon and everything, what would you all do to ensure that the panels are not flying away, or does it, if it, I guess, flies and goes to, let's say it drops into the pools, right? What's your responsibility with regards to taking care of the panels and making sure that, again, that the environment is kept safe?
Right, so I can answer that question. I'm pretty much overall responsible for the overall design for all the disciplines. We have been very keen on insisting that the panels themselves and the rack frames are capable of standing our local building for both seismic and wind. In fact, GPA has increased the wind load requirements on this project to 175 miles per hour. That's one. The success, if you want to call it that, is to refer to the Manila solar farm where they lost very few panels during that not super typhoon category. And so it's not bulletproof because the structural engineer can only design for the code, but he doesn't anticipate flying debris that dislodges panels or anything like that. That's quite difficult and unforeseeable to design for. But we have good success with Manila, other than one incident with stormwater. That was a contractor issue. It was not a design issue. That very clear. But we're trying to do that, plus a little bit more for this area with the soil condition. And like I mentioned, one thing was leaving the grass in place, leaving the vegetation so that it holds the soil and not create more. We're eliminating the four-wheelers in this property. That was a big issue. Some of those ruts are 5, 6 feet, and that causes now just channel water right down to the river, even bay, right? So really the code, the building code is our fallback to try to ensure that these manufacturer and that design are sync to withstand these.
Okay, and then if I'm correct, right, like no solar expert, right? But you have the redundant solar farm, right? Then Manila, would this be the third? It would be third.
And I don't think the last.
And I guess probably the chairman, right? But so if the goal is 2045, how many are we looking at for the island in total? In terms of solar farm?
This phase 4 bid. Commissioner, there were 5 awarded, intent to award bids. Quite a significant number. Samsung is basically the first out of the gate. And we're dealing with one other for sure. That's very close to starting up this process. Well, I think we've submitted applications for it already. But there's several others. And then I hear from GPA. My counterpart, Julie John, there is a phase 5. Which is yet to be determined. What is that going to be? More solar or more battery? I think it's going to be leaning towards more batteries. Complementary, I shouldn't use one. But yes, it's not over yet.
Any other questions from the commissioners, the mayor?
Basically, you got five solar right now.
5 projects or 5 developers, 11 sites.
What is that? So what's the limit? Can GPA buy all this PPA guys or is that in the children? Can GPA give you guys to all this competition out there?
Well, these are all private developments.
Yes.
They're It's all private developments and they're responsible for designing, financing, owning and operating the next 25 years, 5-year extension. GPA doesn't get involved with the operations. GPA does get involved in the dispatching of the power, right? So they're dispatching the process. They will demand, I need so many megawatts at a particular time for a certain duration. But as far as GPA getting involved, this is a entirely independent producer.
So as I mentioned earlier, when we said it's a very aggressive approach, the whole idea is really, fighting for the benefit of the community with respect to addressing current issues that we're experiencing for the lack of power for growth. I just really wanted to put that out because there's a reason to this. Sometimes we tend to not see that.
Commissioner,
Now, do we know how much kilowatt hours we use?
Typically, for home,
Yeah, or per month for all of them.
The average consumption when I was back at GM was about 1,200 kWh
Per house.
per household. That's average. So you've got large households that's 5,000. You got the lifetime rate customer that's less than 500. But that's the average. So when you look at 245,000 megawatt hours times 10 to the 30 kilowatt hours, that's about 17,000 per month. That's a lot, but it's still only about 9 or 10% of total production. Now, please keep in mind, the intent of this project is mostly to charge batteries, and then whatever excess PV is actually sent out to the grid. Then after dark, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., then GPA can dispatch firm power from these batteries any hour of the night. And it depends on how much was charged. So you're getting a split of PV into the grid during the day and some of the PV to the batteries. Then at night, you're not done. Samsung would deliver more power and more energy at night using the batteries, and then the cycle would be.
I just wanted to state that my household, our air cons are on, the fans on all the time, and I have no say so. So.
my last question,
Yes, sir.
the purchase agreement, you mentioned that in your opening statement. Can you expand on that?
I can explain that, sir, because I was involved with the first power purchase agreement with the London project. That power purchase agreement is a 25 or 30-year term agreement. And coupled with that, there's an interconnection agreement that supplements that agreement with how the proponents tie to the grid. And it specifies all the commercial terms and conditions of how GPA and the proponents can interact with it. Right, it's all, it defines them. They define what equipment that they propose initially in their bid. They have to show proof that that's what they're installing. Then there's testing. Once the project is finished, there will be testing to prove to GPA that they met their guarantee. By the way, there are guarantees to this project with penalties if they don't. So that's how it's done. It's and then when you overproduce, then GPA would buy all energy that you overproduce at a negotiated rate. Right.
Okay.
Right now, their tariffs are fixed for 25 years with a small escalation over each year. I think it's 0.5% or more. But it's starting at, I think this Manila was 8.2 cents a kWh. And that is significantly less than what you're paying to your doorstep, which is almost 31 cents a kWh. Total all-in fuel. The fuel we have, I believe currently is more than 15 cents a kWh. So this rate is equal to or better than the price. It's not going to eliminate NEAC altogether because it's only about 9, 10, 12% of production, but it is going to help reduce not burning fuel for these generators.
So I'd imagine increase source of power at a cheaper rate,
At a cheaper rate,
Okay.
non-fuel.
non-fuel, right? We're not paying for gas or fuel.
So I just wanted to, when you say 8 cents?
The Manila solar farm is at 8.2 cents a kWh for 25 years.
That's really good. And what's the increments?
It's only 1%
That's
per year.
really good.
Per year.
I've seen power purchase agreements at 15 and I thought that was good.
Okay.
This is really. And thank you for, speaking about the erosion, because I know there was an incident about me. That's a good idea. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, over to Celine. On your staff report.
Mr. Chair, I'll be reading a summarized staff report dated January 13, 2025. It's a staff report for application number H 2024-44 and H 2024-45. The applicants, Samsung E&C America, Samsung C&T Corporation, and Greenland Energy Solutions Incorporated request a conditional use permit to construct and operate a solar PV BESS and RIESS facility on lot 100-2-1 new -1 -R5, lot 100-2-1 new -2, and lot 100-2 -R1 new -R1. The property is located in Yona, about half a mile west of the Country Club of the Pacific. The lot area is just under 650 acres. The subject lots are currently vacant and undeveloped. The master plan has this area designated as conservation. The community design plan has this area designated as conservation, and there was no previous commission action on any of these lots. The application was accepted on July 1st, 2024, heard by the ARC on July 18th, 2024, and a public hearing was held on November 6th, 2024, with the full public hearing results attached as attachment A to the staff report. For staff analysis for the site plan. The site plan is to include the PV panel system and a RIESS building, office, bridgeways, paved road access ways, a perimeter fence, and a water runoff containment system. Site selection was based on elements of land available for development to minimize the size and avoid wetland, biological, and archaeological sites. The intent is to avoid impacts to sensitive areas. For disposal of sewage, sewage discharge flows will be handled by an approved sewage disposal system. For access, the property is along Cross Island Road, and the site development plan calls for a 20-foot wide paved operation access road within the property. For parking, access is limited to authorized personnel only, and therefore parking will be provided based on the requirements of 3 parking spaces for every 4 employees. For structural locations and dimensions of buildings, the site plan has been developed based on a solar PV module layout. An RIESS with battery storage facility building will be constructed in conformance to all permitting requirements. As to the impact of the proposed uses on adjacent lands, including health, safety, and general welfare factors, the zoning designation as a public facility would have been appropriate designation. However, because of the delicate nature of rezoning actions, we believe that subjecting this under a conditional use would be more acceptable to the community. Under a conditional use approval, there would be conditions imposed. In our review and analysis of performing context, we conclude that the proposed use is necessary for the health, safety, and general welfare of the community. This requested conditional use is in line with the requirements of the zoning code, and we find it proper that it be considered favorably by the Guam Hybrid Land Use Commission. And finally, our recommendation. We recommend approval with the following conditions. A, that the applicant adhere to the ARC conditions and requirements as stipulated on their official position statements. B, if this conditional use permit is granted, the applicant is required to carefully read, understand, and comply with the time limitation condition noted on the first page and the acknowledgement agreement at the last page of the notice of action that cites pursuant to Executive Order 96-26, Section 5, applicant must apply for and receive a building or grading permit for the approved GLUC, GSPC, GHLUC project within 1 year of the date of recordation of the notice of action. Otherwise, the approval of the project as granted by the commission shall be null and void. And C, an as-built site plan is to be submitted to Guam Chief Planner prior to the issuance of an occupancy fee. Signed by myself, with the case planner as Frank Titano. Included as attachment to the staff report are the summary of position statements from the ARC members, the public hearing minutes, and the Joint Municipal Planning Council Resolution number 2024-003B. And that concludes the staff report.
Any questions for Celine's staff? Celine? No? All right, open for public comment. Anybody from the public would like to comment? Christine, you see anything online?
No, sir.
All right, so I'll close the public comment period. If there aren't any additional questions or comments, I'm ready to entertain a motion. And we're gonna vote each application one by one. So a motion for application number H2024-44.
Move to accept application number H2024-44 approval.
Right? A motion has been entered by Mayor Tyke.
A second.
Right, and seconded by the Joint Mayor. Let's put the motion to vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion carries, right? I'm ready for a motion for application H2024-45.
Motion to approve the application. H204-4.
Right, I hear a motion from Mayor Allen. I hear a second.
I second the motion.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, before we make a vote, can we include the conditions of approval
Oh.
as noted in the staff report and the
Mayor Allen, if you could just repeat your motion to include the conditions as stated in the staff report.
Motion to approve H2024-45 and the staff report from the company, so long, that motion.
Yep, dated to agree.
Dated, did they say
No, January 13th, 2025.
January 13th?
All right, do I hear a second?
Sorry, before we make a vote, we didn't do it for the first motion
Oh,
as well, so can we, if I may ask that we, with this motion, I think we can. You know,
Let me close this
sorry.
motion out.
Okay.
And then we'll go back.
Okay.
Okay. I hear a second for H2024-45.
I second.
I hear a second to approve.
Approve.
Mayor Tyke's read. All right, we have a second motion. All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. We're gonna go back to application H2024-44. Just start at the beginning. Yeah, I'll do that. It's just cleaner that way.
Is that okay with legal counsel? Sorry,
We did
sir.
it.
We just want to include the conditions of approval.
Technically, we would, since it's already been approved, the motion would be to amend
Okay.
the approval of application 2024-44 is subject to the conditions of the staff report.
100% agree. I'm ready to hear a motion to amend the application for H2024-44 to include the conditions of the staff report dated 13 January 2025.
Move to amend the motion. Recording. To include,
Conditions of the staff report.
position
Of January 13th.
of John 2025.
Excellent. I do I hear a second?
That's you.
I second.
I hear a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. All right, the motion carries, so application number 2024-44 and application 2024-45 has been approved. All right, next item. Administrative and miscellaneous matters will turn over to our deputy.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Chair, not at this time. Thank you very much.
I'm ready to adjourn. Can you hear a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
I hear a motion from Eric. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I hear a second by Aaron Vata. Raise your right hand and I approve. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned for the Guam Land Use Hybrid Land Use Commission meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As soon as you guys leave.
Okay, even out the time.
How long, what the time they adjourn? I'm sorry, 14:20, 2:20.
All right. They're gonna say longer.
Yeah.
February.
Thank you.
Okay, so. All right, and then I'll.
Mayor Titleby.
All right, thank you. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Guam Land Use Commission, and time is 2:22. Roll call, got myself, Commissioner Leilani Flores, Commissioner Ron Pangilinan, our Deputy Director, like this, we have our legal counsel, Lee Miller, sorry, still here, Chief Planner, Celine Cruz, and her staff.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Again, today's meeting is being live streamed on YouTube at Guam Department of Land Management. Yeah. Okay, item 2, approval of minutes. For the approval of the Guam Land Use Commission minutes from the last meeting of Thursday, January 9th, 2025. The draft was emailed to the commissioners for review. I'm ready to entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of July 9th, 2025.
All right, do I hear a second? All right, so seconded by Commissioner Pangilinan. Any discussion? All right, motion to vote. If you approve, raise your right hand. Say aye. All right, motion carries. Item 3, old or unfinished business, there's none. Item 4, new business, there's none. Item 5, administrative and miscellaneous matters are turned over to our deputy.
Mr. Chairman, again, the matters discussed this time.
All right. Chief Planner Cruz.
Our next meeting would be on February 13th. So we'll be doing a call for quorum within the next day or so, so that we can do it. I don't think anybody has any applications lined up, but if something comes up within the next day or so, we will do that call out for quorum. Thank you.
Any additional business? No?
And
All right, I'm ready to share a motion for adjourn. All right, motion submitted by Commissioner Leilani Flores. Do I hear a second? All right, seconded by Commissioner Ron Pangilinan. I raise your right hand. I'll put motion to vote. Raise your hand. All right. All right, motion carries. The meeting is adjourned at time 2:24. Thank you.
We just stay there.